Welcome, legends, to the HUBcast, your central hub for everything Apex. A podcast by fans, for fans. Tips and tricks, deep dives, and everything you need to know from your first drop to that last head pop.
Hey everybody, welcome back to Apex Legends HUBcast. I'm your host, Nick. Here with me today is...
Justine Huxley.
And Justine, who do you voice in Apex?
I voice Wattson.
All right, so glad to have you on the show because you're somebody who actually responds. I've tried to get other people on the show. So far, I got JB on there. He's a nice guy.
I listened to that one. That was a great podcast, great interview.
Yeah, I really liked it. It was just fun. It's nice to just kind of talk to somebody, and like, it was definitely one of those situations where like I had him on the show, but like not until like I made it official. I actually looked up and seen what he was in. I'm like, oh, he's actually like, on screen as well, and I just didn't know that because it's like, you hear voices and it's one thing, but it's actually another thing to actually talk to, the real person and figure out, who that person is, and that was just really fun. So that's what we're gonna do here too, people. We're just gonna get to know Justine and and things like that. So let's start off with the basics. Where are you from? I guess let's start like, where are you originally from?
Sure. So I am originally from Los Angeles. I grew up in the San Fernando Valley, Sherman Oaks. Everyone says to me how rare that is, but to me, it's not that rare because I would say more than half of my friends are from LA because we grew up here. And so many of us have moved back to LA after college or after trying a different city. So it's nice to still be friends with so many of my elementary and high school friends still who are back in LA. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, that is kind of cool.
Yeah.
I find it rare to have somebody here in Idaho that isn't from California.
Oh, really?
Yes, there are
so many transplants.
So many transplants.
Oh, wow.
And a lot of them like are obviously happy to be here and they love it here and I love it here. But then like by the same reverse, like when I go to a new place to work or something, I'm usually the only native Idahoan out of like a bunch of California people. So when I first got my job at the place I'm working at now, it was pretty much I was in a room and like I think there was one other person from Idaho. There was half of them were from California, and then we had like maybe Oregon and Washington or something like that.
Oh, wow. Interesting. That's cool.
So I have the opposite problem. Nobody wants to stay here. They always go somewhere else, but then everybody else comes here. So it's kind of
interesting.
What did you originally study for? Like, was like acting always kind of in your genes, or was it something that you kind of just discovered? Yeah,
so I have been acting professionally since I was 6 years old.
Oh,
I used to do a lot of commercials when I was a kid. So my first commercial was a Brawny paper towel commercial where I was finger painting, and then I went on to a Dixie paper cup commercial, and more after that.
If I Googled that, would I somehow be able to find it?
I don't know. It was from the 90s. I'm dating myself, but it was from the 90s, so it might be tough to find. I'm sure I have it on VHS somewhere.
Oh my gosh, what is that?
So I've been acting since I was a little kid. And then I went to acting classes and dance classes, singing lessons. I've always been singing. My parents, my mom is a singer, not professionally, but she made an album when I was a kid for fun. And she does speech therapy and accent reduction. So I've got the voices in my head. And my dad is a music producer. And he, when he was a kid, he was a jazz pianist and also child actor.
Oh,
so,
okay.
My grandmother on my dad's side was an old MGM Hollywood dancer. So I've got a lot of music and dancing, acting, singing in my family, which was really fun to grow up with. I was always going to see concerts and plays and musicals. And yeah, it was pretty great.
So it was something you were just always like surrounded by?
Oh yeah, totally surrounded by, always listening to records, cast albums of musicals, PBS documentaries, and PBS live performances that were taped. So yeah, I knew by the time my mom says by the time I was 2 or 3, I could sing you the entire Rodgers and Hammerstein score of every musical. And I was not shy. I would get up, we would take from LA. We took vacations a lot to San Francisco because it's not so far from LA. We just drove, and we had friends there. And if you know Ghirardelli Square in San Francisco, it's the chocolate center of San Francisco, and it's a big square. And apparently, I got up in the square when I was probably 3 or 4 and just started giving people an impromptu concert.
Oh wow!
Yeah. So I've never been shy. I've always been a very outgoing kid and now adult.
Right.
So it was a fun childhood, and then I went to a place called the Youth Academy of Dramatic Arts, where I started doing more musicals and performed in concerts there for charity. And then I went to the LA County High School for the Arts, and that's a high school that it's free to go. It's a public high school run by the county, but you have to audition to get in. So it's really tough to get in. There's, I think, thousands of students that audition every year, and they only take a certain number. I think my theater class was only about 40 kids. So yeah, it was a really great experience. I loved going. It was definitely hard and a commute. It was about an hour and 15, sometimes an hour and a half every day to get there, because it was all the way in East LA and I live in the Valley. So it was tough, and sometimes we'd have rehearsals until 10 p.m. if you were in a musical or a play. You had your academic classes in the morning, and then you had lunch, and then every day you had your arts classes. And all of our teachers were working professionals, either directing outside of school, acting, singing, dancing. Yeah, it was a really great experience. And some of my friends, I would say I have the most friends from my high school still of anywhere of my friend group, because we bonded so much and we went through so much at school that we've stayed in such close touch, which is so nice. Yeah. And then after high school, I went to New York, and I went to the conservatory, the acting conservatory at SUNY Purchase, the State University of New York at Purchase College, which is about it's about half an hour on the express train to Manhattan. It's north of Manhattan, so it's in Westchester County. So I would go every weekend to Manhattan, see Broadway shows and take in the city. But our school was really in the forest, and it was really secluded. So even the market, even like the Stop and Shop or the Whole Foods market, was, you had to have a car, you had to drive, and it was about 10 minutes away. So there was nothing walkable. It was very woods like. Yeah. So sometimes it got a little bit you got a little bit of cabin fever, because I lived on campus all 4 years. I didn't have a car. I just took the bus into wherever, or I took the train, because you didn't really need a car. But yeah, sometimes, because we were in rehearsal and in class 6 days a week, and sometimes we'd start class at 8 a.m. and then we wouldn't get out of rehearsal until 11 p.m. every night. So it was a lot, and we usually did 2 to 3 shows a year plus extra performances. I took clown class, which was amazing. And we put on a circus. We created our own clowns. I had a great accent dialect coach and teacher. So I've taken, it kind of relates back to Wattson and Voiceover. I've taken accent and dialect classes for about 7 years, because I took them in college for 4 years and 3 years in high school at my performing arts high school. So I gravitated so much to that and loved learning about all the accents and the different ways to create a character with an accent.
For having so many or so much experience in accents. I'm very curious. What makes a good accent?
Consistency, I think.
Yeah.
Definitely consistency. If you go back and you go back into your American accent or go back into whatever accent you have, I think it's very telling. But I think it really depends on the accent. Every accent is different. And so, yeah, it's, for me, it really helps, not for everyone, but for me, it really helps to listen to a native person speaking in their native accent. That helps a lot. But, yeah, I also have notes from college, which really helped me. And, yeah, now my accent dialect teacher from college has since left Purchase, and now she does accent coaching for film, TV. She was Julianne Moore's dialect coach for the Sarah Palin role that she did on HBO. She's helped so many fabulous actors and actresses. So I'm so lucky I got to study with her. Her name is Lee Dillon. She's amazing. And then I moved to New York and to the city, to Manhattan. I started doing theater there and lived there for about a year and a half. I did a tour of a musical, a national tour. We went to 14 different states, which was a lot of fun.
What musical was it?
It was called Max and Ruby. I got my equity card doing it. I played a big bunny called Ruby. And that was a lot of fun. I learned so much from that experience. And then about a year and a half later, I moved back to LA. I missed my family. I missed the weather. New York is a really hard place to live if you're not a super billionaire. And so I moved back, and I've been back to New York for different projects. I did an off-Broadway show a few years ago there. And luckily I took my voiceover equipment with me. I was still able to audition, and my voiceover agents are bi-coastal, so I was still able to work sometimes in New York doing commercials, voiceover commercials in New York. But but my home is LA.
Yeah. So, what do you say you like doing the most? The theater or like voice acting?
I love both.
Yeah.
I really love both. I love voice acting because you can play so many characters that you that you don't need to look like, which is amazing.
Right.
Because I play kids all the time because I have a pretty high voice. So I love that. It's so much fun to get into that kid space. And there's just so many creatures I've played. I played panda bears and fairies and things that I would never play in person on stage or on camera. So and then I love theater because dressing up really, for me, it really helps to get to look like the character and to dress up and to feel the costume and to also, the thing I miss about voice acting is so often you're in the booth by yourself.
True.
And so sometimes you're with a group, which I love, which to me reminds me of theater. It's like doing a radio play. But I love the camaraderie of theater. I love people, and I'm very extroverted. So to me, it's sometimes hard to audition by myself or to be in a booth by myself because I like to play off of other people. But saying that, I also really love the challenge of being in a booth by myself.
That's true.
And especially when I get to go into a studio, there's so many times I'm recording from home, just self-directing. But when I get to go into a studio and get directed by an actual person, it's so helpful.
Yeah.
So that is very nice. And also to play off of the creators and the writers and the devs and everyone. So that helps a lot. So I love both.
Yeah, it's hard to choose one.
Yeah, luckily theater is at night and voiceover is during the day usually. So that helps me.
So that works out perfectly.
Yeah.
Oh man. So I mean, like, it's hard because like usually I try to be like, oh, what was the moment that you decided? But it's like at 6, it's like can you really remember? But like, so I guess the main question I would want to know is what was the moment that made you go from, I want to do this for a living to I can do this for a living?
Sure. So I would say probably when I moved back to LA, it was hard because I had a lot of student loans from college.
Right.
I was the struggling actress trying to figure out how to make a living from acting, from theater, film, TV, voice acting. And I think when I got my first animated TV show is when I was like, okay, I'm making a living doing this. This is awesome. And I was on a show called Goldie and Bear on the Disney Channel, which was so much fun. I was on that for 2 seasons, and I played Little Red Riding Hood, which was just a blast, and also the old woman who lives in a shoe, which is, like we were saying before, in voiceover, you really can play anything.
Yeah.
Yeah, a 7-year-old and a 35-year-old with 12 children. So yeah, it was a lot of fun. So that was probably the first time I said, okay, this is really happening. I'm really doing this.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Right. You said Goldie and the Bear. You played
Goldie
who?
and Bear. I played Little Red Riding Hood and the old woman who lives in a shoe.
Who's the main character?
So Goldilocks and
that makes sense.
The little bear. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, but all of the it was a pretty big ensemble cast, so all of the characters were really featured. So Jim Cummings, who you probably know as Winnie the Pooh and the Tasmanian Devil and Tigger, he played the big bad wolf, which was so much fun. We had a session together, and but our first session was all together, and then we started recording solo because it was just too much for everyone to be scheduled at the same time. But working with Jim Cummings was unbelievable. He's so talented, so funny. His improv is amazing. He just is so on it and just can go from voice to different voice just so effortlessly. It's like a masterclass in acting watching him.
Yeah. I mean, just to be able to meet somebody like that, I mean, it's one thing to be like, oh, Little Red, I mean, no offense to you, obviously, Little Red Riding Hood, but Winnie the Pooh, you don't get more iconic than that. I mean, that's definitely really cool. So I got a couple of pictures of you well, not you, but Little Red Riding Hood. Yep. That's kind of cute.
Yeah, it was fun. She actually didn't look as much like me when I was auditioning, and then the director and some of the illustrators saw me record, and so they made the facial expressions look more like mine while I was recording.
That's cool.
And drew kind of my eyes the way my eyes are, and a lot of my mannerisms they incorporated into the character, which was really fun to see.
Well, that's cool.
Yeah.
And you were on that for a couple of seasons?
Yeah, we recorded for about 3.5 years because there was a little break and we did shorts and
okay.
Yeah, it was so much fun. I had such a great time doing that.
And that was your first animated series?
Yeah.
Yeah?
It was, yeah.
Did you do extras before that, or that was your first main one?
Yeah, that was my first main one. Before that, I'd been doing a bunch of commercials and some video games and also promos. So I do a bunch of promos. But before that, I was doing the promos for this channel on cable called Music Choice. I don't know if you've heard of Music Choice. It's a music channel. They have a lot of different music channels, like 60s channel and 70s music and all that stuff. So I was doing some of the promos for a show called MC Now. So I did that for a few years. And then now I do promos for the TNT channel. So I'm their sponsorship voice right now, their daytime sponsorship voice.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So that's a lot of fun.
And so is that kind of stuff you can just do at home, the sponsorship stuff?
I do that from home. Yeah, it's been so great.
So the more official stuff like Disney or something, they'll have you like go to a booth, but then there's some more kind of sort of unofficial stuff you can do from home? Yeah,
I mean, it's still official. I still have a studio at my home, but the Disney, they always want you to come in because they're directing you. You're also sometimes doing ADR work, which for people that don't know is additional dialogue replacement or additional dialogue recording. So sometimes they will have an animatic, or they'll have some illustrations or something that resembles your character that they need to put your voice into the picture. And so you're looping. There's 3 beeps usually, and on the 4th invisible beep, you are starting to record. And so it helps them to fit the voice and the picture together.
That makes sense.
Yeah. So that, yeah, you've got to do that at the studio because they're directing you and you have to see the screen. And yeah, but it also helps them for animated shows. If they are watching you, it helps them sometimes create the character visually.
So what would you say is your favorite role so far?
Oh my gosh. So many. I love Wattson. I'm just having a blast with Wattson. The response has been insane. People have been so kind, and it's been so much fun. My great grandfather was French, and I never got to meet him, but I do have French in my blood, and it's really fun. I did take French in middle school and high school, so I took about 5 years of French classes. And so to get to use my French after some time has been so much fun. I've just been having a blast with that. And she's such an interesting character. She's so different from anything I've ever played. I've never played anyone as electrically savvy, I want to say, and a scientist. So that's been so much fun. Also, Little Red Riding Hood was just a blast. I'm a singer, so on Goldie and Bear, I got to sing a bunch on that show, which was so much fun. So yeah, anything with singing, I love. I had a lot of fun. I did a couple of roles on Spyro, and so that was really fun because I got to change roles like every, I don't know, half an hour. It was like, okay,
nice.
let's do a Canadian panda. Okay, let's do a French fairy. Okay, let's do, that was a lot of fun. I had a really good time with that.
So I have to ask you.
Sure.
Do you actually play any video games?
So one of my other favorite roles that just came out is from Harry Potter Wizards Unite. It's the new Pokemon Go based game, like the new AR game for mobile from Niantic is Harry Potter Wizards Unite, and I play Constance Pickering, who's a new character in the Harry Potter universe, and she's Irish, and she is best friends with Hermione and works with Harry, and she narrates the game. So that's been so much fun. I've loved doing that. Yeah, WB has been amazing to work for and to work at. So I've loved that character as well.
Okay, so that didn't really answer my question.
Oh, so I played that a lot. I'm a little obsessed with that because with the mobile games you can play anywhere.
Right.
And so it's I probably need to stop pretty soon because but I'm having a really good time with that. Making spells and magic and everything.
Right.
I'm into magic. I love magic. I can't do magic at all, but seeing magic, I just think it's so incredible. I'm just in awe by anyone that can do magic believably. Right.
So is it weird playing like a game like that and like hearing yourself and...
It's fun. It's not so weird for me. It's just really fun and very exciting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So have you ever played Apex?
I have, yes.
Okay.
It's not an easy game.
No, it's not.
I know. So you probably heard about EA Play.
Yeah.
Where a couple of us voice actors went, which was so much fun, and we got to play. And so this was when Wattson was announced, but before the character had come out. So you could play exclusively at EA Play as Wattson. So I played as Wattson, and within the first maybe 2 minutes, I got stuck in the water, could not get out. It was flailing. There was no way I was going to get out. So one of the very kind devs of Apex offered to help get me out, and I said, maybe you can just play and I'll watch you, and, because you're so much more experienced, and it'll be great for me to watch so I can hear my voice lines and to see how it's done. So yeah, but so far that was when I played, and then I enjoy watching people play more than me playing, because I'm just not that good at it. It's not. Yeah, it's a tough game, which is so fun to watch, and to see how good people are. People are, I mean, there's so many like pro players of Apex. I'm so impressed.
Right.
I was watching my friend play the other night. He just bought Wattson, and he's a big gamer, and even he was having such trouble because it's a tough one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, that's what makes Apex kind of stand out to me.
Oh,
is
yeah.
just the different characters and, how they can synergize. And, yeah, Wattson is just so different because most characters have some sort of, active ability, whereas a lot of hers are more passive, and so it really is about strategizing that way. You can't be running around the map with her. I mean, you can, but it's like you can't really run all over the map if you're just going to be out in the open. I mean, she's not really going to do that good, so she's very much about getting into a area and like locking it down. And so yeah, it's just so different, because then like the one right before that obviously was Octane.
Right.
And he's all about the speed and going around and like pulling off trick shots and stuff. So it's a nice contrast, and it also kind of makes us really excited for whatever's going to come next, because the contrast between go really quickly and stay in and hunker down, that kind of contrast is really cool. So I can't wait to see what comes next. So like you like well, I guess here's a really good question. I think I asked JB the same thing. What do you prefer, something animated or like video games, as far as your voice acting?
I love both.
Yeah. You're not allowed to say that all the time.
I know, but I think it really depends on the character and how well the character is written. And so far, from what I've worked on in my career, I've gotten to work on really fun characters. And so I think it just really depends. It depends on the project. Yeah, they're both really fun.
Yeah.
Especially for me, an ongoing game like Apex, which is something different. I don't think I've ever done an ongoing game like Apex before.
Oh, yeah.
Most of them, like I've done Red Dead Redemption 2. I did a bunch of secondary characters in that, and I did Grand Theft Auto 5, but those are, you do the game, it's out. This is it's kind of like a TV show. You get to keep following the character. We keep recording. There's new seasons that come out every so often. Right. So it's almost like an animated show where you just keep going in and you get to know the people, and you get to know your character better. Especially when my character came out, because I didn't have any reference to go by of seeing her in action. It helped me so much to see her. Oh, that's what this means. That's how she's doing it. Okay, because it's complicated. It's not, she's a scientist. I'm definitely not a scientist in real life. And so some of the terms when I was recording, I would have to ask the writers, okay, what does this mean? How does this work into the gameplay? How does this work into her abilities? So now seeing it, I understand so much more.
So some of the mannerisms, did you do any of that? Like, did you do any of the motion capture?
No, there was a motion capture actress that I think she did everything before I even came in. I think before I even auditioned.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah. She's fantastic. I don't know her name, but I think that she is one of the nieces of one of the devs. I think. Do you know Moy? I think she is his niece, and she's really great. I saw some behind the scenes stuff of her doing Wattson, and she's so perfect for it.
Yeah. So was that like nice to have like a reference point as far as like did they kind of show you her mannerisms and like how she reacted or anything like that?
Not until my character was coming out. So
okay.
They must not have gotten everything together, or maybe it was after. I'm not sure. Yeah. So I didn't see it until I recorded the trailer for season 2.
Oh, interesting. Well, because like I mean, your voice, as far as it just fits the mannerisms so well, and just the cutesy nature of it, and just how, yeah. So I mean, it definitely. I mean, I kind of, for the most part, knew that you weren't necessarily in a mocap suit, but at the same time, I thought maybe they got some of the mannerisms for you or from you. So yeah, it's interesting that it was kind of one and then the other rather than both of them together. It's That's kind of interesting as far as you never know. I mean, especially like us being just the people who play the game or whatever, we just naturally assume that it's like, oh, well, obviously they got that from her. How much of yourself are you able to put in there? How much, I mean, obviously most of it is about finding a character and letting it speak for itself, but how much of yourself are you able to put into it?
I love puns. I think puns are so fantastic. And so when they gave me all these amazing electricity and puns, I was just like, yes, this is so fantastic and wonderful. So that definitely is me. And I think she just has so much fun, which I love. I mean, who doesn't love to have fun?
Right.
I'm having so much fun with this character, and she's having fun.
Mm-hmm.
I think a lot of the other characters are very serious.
True. Yeah.
And it's fun to have that different character that just enjoys the game so much. She enjoys herself playing. She enjoys all of her electrical abilities. She enjoys, her killing, that boop on Gibraltar for in the trailer, what I'm talking about? Yeah, she just loves that. She loves teasing. She really is enjoying herself. And I think that's me with this game. I'm enjoying I'm enjoying myself recording.
Well, yeah, it obviously comes through because, that's the other thing that definitely sticks out is, like you said, she is very much having fun with it, whereas all the other characters, I'd say the only other one that comes close to having as much fun as you is
Octane.
No, well, yeah, actually, that's a good point.
Great time.
That's a real good point. But I was actually going to say Mirage because he's more
totally
so just
Mirage.
Like full of himself.
Oh, totally.
And so he's like, I'm going to win. And so I'd say that's the only other person who's like treating it like a game. Whereas, you bring up a good point. Octane does also have fun with it, but he's also just more about like, I equate him to like the Flash. I was like, let's go.
Totally.
And so I like that. But yeah, that's the one thing that just from the very get-go stuck out about Wattson is just how much of a personality she has. Like I love Lifeline, the Mila, she voiced her very good. I like her. I like Octane. I love his kind of energy, obviously. But yeah, the personality just stuck out from the very beginning. And it's just like, I can't wait to play this character. I can't wait to, see all the different quips and everything. Yeah. And so, yeah, I love all the characters, but as far as like personality, yours just sticks out as far as
I'm so glad.
As far as just it's so bubbly. And like I think like if you remember the way I first tweeted you was like pretty much just like just calling her adorable and just like, oh, it's so awesome, and so then you actually like tweeted back and I'm like, oh my god. Because like not to be like Mr. Bitterbody or anything, but yeah, like I've tried getting a lot of the other people on, and it's like it was so refreshing just for you to actually be like, oh yeah, this would be awesome. I'm like, I just what? Okay, sure. Like it was one of those situations where like I didn't know how to react because it was like, oh, okay, like it's this easy. Because I've been in a battle. I won't say with who, but I've been in a battle with somebody's publicist, essentially being like, "Oh well, that's just too much time. Go to a convention and you'll have like 15 minutes." And I'm like, "I don't want 15 minutes. I want to get to know the person. I want to talk to you. I want to have a conversation." And so just like, "Oh yeah, you'll have 20 minutes." What am I going to ask there? Was it fun? Okay. And so it was just such a refreshing just to be like, "Hey, would you like to come on?" "Yeah, I'd love to. This is awesome." Which sort of fits Wattson, because you were just so excited and like, "Oh yeah, I would love to." So I mean, it's just an interesting just personality and the way it was put into the game. And it's like, I feel like they took what they started with Wattson's character, and they've now started to go to the other characters. Because you seen that short with Wraith?
Yeah. Oh my gosh, incredible.
That was so good.
So
like, I almost wish you would have gotten the same love and care, because yours was more like a stop motion storyline, whereas like she got like the full CG and like all this really cool stuff. But still, it's like it started kind of with your character, as far as like yours was the first time we really got like a story. We got a little bit of, what was it? It was like those characters in a bar and they were talking about Apex, but it wasn't like this, where it's like we got to find out that Wattson had a dad and they created this together, and this whole backstory. And so like that, on top of the personality, on top of just like the difference of that character, just like really stood out. And so now that they're going to start doing other characters, like I actually can't wait,
I know, I'm so excited. I can't wait. I can't wait to see what they come up with.
Yeah.
Everything is so top secret. Like when I auditioned, everything has a code name. My character had a code name, so I had no idea what I was getting into.
Oh, really?
When I auditioned, it was all I knew was that she was French and that she was a scientist. That's it. There's so many. I think JB mentioned this, that there's so many, of these top secret video game projects where they give you, the barest of bare bones, and you try your best to make it your own and create a character without much knowledge, and you have to make it your own, and you have to stand out from. Sometimes I'm auditioning with 500 other actresses.
True.
And it's tough to do something that's unique and original that the 499 other actresses are not gonna do. So then when I got there, I was like, "Oh, okay, cool. This is Apex. Awesome. I don't know anything about it, but this sounds fun." And then when it came out in February, right? February. Pretty sure February.
I should know this.
I think it's February. So when it came out this year, let's say 2019.
Right.
I was oh, this is what this is.
Yeah.
Wow, this is so exciting.
So wait, okay. So you might have just given something away. So was Wattson already in was Wattson already in development before the game came out?
I don't know if I'm allowed to
well,
say
you
that.
kind of might have already done that.
I think that it's okay that I say that.
I hope so.
I started recording a little bit last year.
Oh, okay.
But this was after I started recording, and I was cast after I think all of the first 8, the OGs. Yeah. So because
Good save.
Yeah. Yeah. So I think I'm okay.
Yeah.
I think I'm okay. Hopefully.
Well, I mean, these stuff has to be planned months and months in advance.
Oh
anyway,
yeah,
so,
I mean, this I think this game has been in development for a very long time.
Oh right.
So yeah, I mean, most games take years to make, so I don't think that's anything.
Yeah, that's not news, but it's still interesting to think that even before it released, they were still thinking of like their release schedule and how they were going to do stuff. So definitely, it's a nice peek behind the curtain. Thank you for letting that slip.
It was so crazy to see the reaction of everyone, because you just don't know. I've done video games that have been huge and some that that had a little boutique following, which is awesome. But this is probably the biggest game I've ever done especially with this character, because I've never had this kind of character that in a video game that has had such a huge reaction and that people love so much, and that there's so much fan art. I love all the fan art. It's been so amazing. It's so cool. All the electricity puns that people are sending my way, and it's great.
I mean, even the name Wattson. I think when we
so
first
great, right?
heard that, I made such a big deal out about it. I'm like, Wattson. I always annoy Nate with my dad jokes, because obviously I have a 4-year-old and I have another one on the way, and so I always do those kind of dad jokes. But I even the name Wattson, and I'm like, I see what you did there.
Oh, sorry.
No, go ahead.
Oh no, I think the writers are so talented. I'm so impressed all the time, and they're constantly coming up with new ideas, and I love these shorts that they're doing. Like the Wraith short was, oh my gosh, it was so great.
Yeah.
I'm just so impressed. I also have to say that I feel like the voice actors that they have cast in this game really fit each character so well. And it was so exciting for me when I first saw everyone and all of their, meet this character video, meet that character video. I just feel like they're perfect. It's so spot on.
Yeah, I think the one that looks
It's exciting to be in a game that
Sorry.
Oh, sorry. The one that looks the most
I think the one that looked the most like her character was I want to say it's Erica something. She plays Bangalore.
Yeah.
And she looks so much
great.
like I don't know if she did it on purpose, but even in the interview, she even had her hair like up in a bun, and I'm like, wow, that looks almost exactly like her.
Yeah, I wonder if they tweaked the character to look like her, or if the character looked like her before. I don't know. I'll have to ask them. That's so interesting. Yeah, she's so perfect for that role. She's great. Yeah, and JB with his very sinister, smoky, gas-filled accent. I love it. It's so good. So good. Yeah, everyone. And I'm friends with the actress that plays Bloodhound, and she's so good. I love her so much. Yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely interesting. I think the coolest thing about something like Apex, or I mean, obviously what it's always compared to, it's like Overwatch, but battle royale. But like, I do like the representation as far as like now we have a Frenchie, we have a Hispanic. We have, I want to say she has to be from the Pacific Islands or something, because Mila, she has that really kind of like Jamaican accent. Mozambique here, and I love that, and I like all the kind of representation, and I want to say, like, in that same interview, like the what's the lady's name that plays Bloodhound?
Oh, Allegra. Oh my gosh, Allegra Clark.
I remember her bringing up in the interview that a lot of people basically reached out to her and told her like how much it means to them to have like a non-binary person in a game like this. And so it's I just like it as far as, there's even a big Samoan guy like Gibraltar. That's just, it's so cool. And it's nice to have just all these different people, because it's like, it's something that's like, it's just nice to have it. But then it's a whole nother thing when you think of like just all the games out there, white male protagonist. And so it is nice to have the just the representation or whatever. And
definitely.
I don't know, other than just saying it's cool, I felt like I was going somewhere, and then halfway through
That's okay. That's okay. No, I totally agree. I think that every character is so unique in this game and has such an interesting personality, and I think that's why it's so much fun for people to choose their main, and or I have friends that switch it up all the time because they love hearing all the different quips of the characters. They love, I'm really feeling like a Bangalore today, or I'm feeling like a Mirage tomorrow, so it's fun. Who's your main?
My main? My main is definitely, I kind of go between Lifeline, Pathfinder.
Oh, he's so funny. I love Chris Edgerly. He's so funny. He's so perfect as that character.
Those are my two mains, and then my third one will kind of always depend on who I'm playing with or like just my mood, because then we have the dailies, which the dailies kind of just like mix it up and make you want to play as different people anyway. So yeah, but yeah, definitely like Lifeline's definitely my main, and then I'll always kind of go all over the place because it's like I don't like being stagnant as far as like I just like all the different characters and everything. So yeah, I don't like having one main, but that one definitely would be mine as far as I'm concerned. So
yeah, she does a great job too. I love her character. It's so cool. Have you played as Wattson?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah.
How do you like playing as Wattson?
I like her as far as I'm not usually the type to kind of buckle down and like get into an area, because I actually most of the time what I like to do is I like to kind of go from the outside of the circle rather than like there's tons of people who like to get in the center of the circle and then hunker down and wait for everybody to come to them. I don't necessarily like doing that. I like the rotation, and she unfortunately isn't the greatest if you're going from the outside in, because with her it's really about that final circle sometimes, like when you're down and you're in a building, you're able to cut off all the entrances and stuff like that. And so I don't normally play as her, but yeah, obviously I do like playing as her as well.
Yeah, cool.
See, ironically, I'd say the two people I play as the least are Wattson and Caustic, and those are the two I've had on the show. Yeah. So it's like shows my appreciation. I didn't have Caustic until probably a month or so after I had JB on the show.
Oh, interesting.
And so like I was like, you know what? I had him on the show, I might as well. So I spent some extra money and got him and Octane at the same time. And so
nice.
And I haven't looked back.
Yeah, I think, it's for a particular Wattson and Caustic are for particular players too.
Definitely. All right, so I think that's going to be it. I'm not going to keep you any longer. First off, thank you so much for coming on. I really do appreciate it. I love your character, and I love all her quips and everything. So it was really nice to have you on.
Thank you so much. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah. And obviously, if you guys would like to hear more about her, you can follow her on Twitter. She's very nice, and she responds to a lot of things. I've seen all your responses to like the fan art like you were talking about. Oh God, what happened to the rest of it? Okay, so apparently the recording cut out near the end of this. Luckily, we were already kind of wrapping up, so, that kind of sucks. But, hey, thank you so much, Justine, for coming on the show. Once again, you were such a delight to talk to, and you definitely fit the bubbly personality of Wattson. It was so nice. You can go to our Twitter at Apex Legends Cast or at TX3 Productions. If you want to follow Justine, she's at Justine Huxley. Don't forget, it's the month of sharing, so every time you share one of our episodes on Twitter or Instagram, then you get entered into the giveaway, which is going to be for the Lady Legends t-shirt, which is officially now on sale. So go to the link down in the description below or in our Twitter, Instagram, in our bio, and you can get some official Apex Legends HUBcast merch. So once again, thank you so much to Justine. We had so much fun, and we'll see you down in Kings Canyon, where it's gonna be legend